Good Wednesday evening, everybody, or Thursday morning, depending on when you're watching this. Sam Walker, obxnews.com, with our Hurricane Erin wrap-up of the day. And, boy, has it been a day, and it's going to be even more on Thursday, it looks like, with the way things went with this evening's high tide. It is going to be very, very active with the two high tides coming up around 7:30, 7-ish, 7:30 on Thursday in the morning, and then the big one, which will be 7:30, closer to 8 o'clock Thursday night. Now, everything's been around a 2-hour window on each side, so 4 hours. Really, it's been about a 6-hour window where all the major activities happen. So unfortunately, for the visuals anyway, and seeing what's going on, tomorrow night's going to be a little bit tougher behind high tide. Before high tide, we'll still have plenty of light, but after, sunset's before 8 o'clock now. So whatever we get tomorrow night after high tide, we're probably not going to see a lot of that, except for some brave souls on Hatteras and on the beaches that have some lights and things like that, which I'm sure sort of will be some of that. So, all right, let's show you what we got right now here at just about 9:30 on Wednesday evening. So let me switch over here to the computer screen as we can find our mouse. It seems to be wanting to act up a little bit. There we go. All right, here we go. There's satellite image of Hurricane Irene spinning out around 200 miles off of Hatteras right now. You can see sunsets as the satellite images change from the visible to the infrared there. And that gives you an idea just how massive this thing is. We have started to see the winds pick up here at Sam Walker, obxnews.com headquarters over the last, say about the last hour. We've seen a band come in with that, but haven't seen any rain yet. Maybe we'll get some radar in a second. All right, National Hurricane Center, here's what they show. At 8 o'clock with the intermediate advisory, max winds 110, moving north at 14. So the turn is getting ready to happen. Tropical storm warning continues for all of northeastern North Carolina. Buoy data, that's what we want to see. Let's show you what's going on with the buoys and why all this overwash is going on. I'm going to zoom down here. Let me shift this real quick. That shows the winds at the buoy that is called Hatteras South. It's 225 nautical miles south of Cape Hatteras. That one is relatively close, the closest one to the center of circulation. Northwest winds at 37 knots, gusting to almost 47. Let me see if it's the wave data. That's what we really want to see. And this little yellow dude sitting out there in the ocean and its current conditions. Let's see here. Where is the wave data? Because that's the whole point. Is we want to see there's winds, but there's no wave data. That's the whole reason we went to that buoy, because we wanted to see what the waves are doing. And unfortunately, it's not showing them right now. Oh, there it is. Okay. 23 feet at 8:50 p.m. with an 11-second period. And so not quite as powerful as we were thinking at this point. But now the center is past that. So it's now that northwest side. So it's a little bit weaker. But still, 24-foot waves. The peak was 26. Yeah, 27, 28 feet at 5:20 out there. And that's 250 miles away. And those waves will be arriving shortly. So that's that buoy there, 225 miles south of Cape Hatteras. The next buoy that we want to look at is the one that's essentially, it's not Diamond Shoals. That one is to the north of the center. Actually, you know what? I am going to go to Diamond Shoals because at this point, that north one doesn't really help us because the center is not up there. Let's look at what Diamond Shoals has. Diamond Shoals, as of 9 p.m., winds at 27 knots, gusting to 35 knots. Wave heights, 16 feet with a period of 15 seconds. That's pretty powerful. Yeah, that's a pretty powerful wave. So, why am I bringing all that up? Well, because that's what's going on offshore, and that's what's bringing us all the issues we've had this evening. Real quick, I'll run through the Hurricane Erin briefing from the National Weather Service in Newport, Morehead City. As we said, storm surge warning continues. Tropical storm warning continues. Storm surge warning of 3 feet or greater of inundation, 2 to 4 feet above normally dry ground expected. Oceanside. Max waves still thinking 15 to 20 feet, 20 to 25 feet at Diamond Shoals, 15 to 20 feet near shore along the wrecks that are just offshore, and then that translates down to anywhere from 10 to 15, maybe some 20s along the beaches. Storm surge is expected to peak, the tides are expected to peak in the major flood stage at Duck Pier tomorrow evening with the 7 feet. Tonight's measurement at around 5 o'clock was right around 5.25 feet. 5.5 is minor flood stage. The morning high tide is supposed to be at 6. The evening high tide tomorrow at 7. All right, we talked about that 2 to 4 feet of storm surge flooding. We might see some soundside flooding. That's going to depend on the winds, what the winds do. If we get the sustained tropical storm force, we could see some of that water flowing on down the Pamlico Sound and give us some high water in Hatteras Village and Ocracoke, because they really need that. You look at the Coast Guard station at Hatteras, 3.5 feet. That's going to put water in the village. That's probably going to put water in Ocracoke as well. Let's see. Scroll down. Max wind gusts in the 40s, upper 40s, maybe around 50 on Hatteras Island tomorrow. And, of course, the rip currents. We keep talking about the rip currents. We've been hammering the rip currents the whole time. And we've been hammered by them. Stay out of the ocean. Don't even think about it, okay? Don't even think about it. All right. Wanted to do kind of a quick rundown on what we've been sharing on our socials and what we've been seeing on the socials this evening. So just give you a quick run through on those, okay? So let's go back over here. This was from our friends at the Ocracoke Observer down at the Pony Pens around 4 o'clock. We'll see if I can get this to zoom out. There you go. That's from Peter and Connie at the Ocracoke Observer, showing the waves breaking out there near the Pony Pens, just off the beach off the Pony Pens on Ocracoke. That was the view there. Then some more. Here's from the Cape Hatteras Motel as you come into Buxton. And this was about 5 hours ago, so around 4 o'clock, so still about 2.5, 3 hours before high tide. And we'll just kind of fast forward through some of that just to show you how close up things are. Before high tide, there's a great shot looking south. This continues to hit things, the lighthouse view, just down from Cape Hatteras Motel. All right, that was a shot from NCDOT about 4 hours ago on the north end of Ocracoke Island. One thing we've not had, they put up a temporary camera there, and they have not given us access to that. Hopefully tomorrow we're going to be able to get access to that camera. But that is the north end of Ocracoke looking south along Highway 12. That was about 4:30 this afternoon. So that's just kind of beginning to tell the story. That was this morning at the Canal Zone. Let's see if they have a post here. All right, so there is the north end of Hatteras Village around 6 p.m. You see the DOT tractor still out there working, front end loader. That is that area between Frisco and Hatteras Village. And this was a scene from the DOT camera right at 6 o'clock at the motels, where you can see the water just pouring right through. So that's what DOT had then. There's some of the stuff we posted in those same spots about the same time. This is a great shot here, something we don't normally get to see. That is the Hatteras Ferry dock camera that's normally pointed at the loading or at the staging area, the stacking lanes. They turned it around looking out on the ocean. And man, look how big those breakers are offshore there, off Hatteras Village earlier this evening. Here's some more from Lighthouse View in Buxton. Yeehaw. Yep, see the sand tubes that they have there? And it's just killing those. And that's a lot of water moving through Old Lighthouse Road. That whole neighborhood has been inundated. That area, they're cutting off the water supply all up in that end of Buxton. They have cut the power to some properties there as a precaution, but Dare County is already the Dare County Water Department's already cut the water there because we know that there's water lines going into that neighborhood. Again, that's on Old Lighthouse Road, and even that in where Red Drum gas station, Dillon Corner, their businesses there. That water is going to be cut off up on that end of Buxton, out to the motels, because as a precaution, because the water lines are probably going to get washed out. Here's a shot from Susan Garrett at the Frisco Bathhouse earlier this evening. That's water running right down beside the walkway at the Frisco Bathhouse this afternoon. Yep. All right, here's Rick Shafton in Road Anthe showing it coming down his road, street, Corbina Drive. As you get up, there's the Midget Realty building as you just swept by. That shows you just, how much water. And that, again, that was earlier this evening. Here's the more photos from NCDOT. That's when they went ahead and announced that Highway 12 shut down on Hatteras Island, between Hatteras Village, really between Road Anthe, it's pretty much closed everywhere. It's closed on Pea Island. It is closed from Buxton to Avon. You can't get through Buxton, and you can't get north of Hatteras Village. All right. More from Rick Shafton out on the beach there at Merlot at Corbina Drive, looking south. Then he turns back looking north. That building right there, let me zoom out on this. You can hear that wind whipping. If we go back here, there used to be a pool there in front of that building. There was a swimming pool right there. That's no longer there from last year or year before. That swimming pool got washed out from one of the nor'easters that took some of the houses down. All right, here is Lauren McMillan. This is about 4 o'clock, maybe. No, about 6 o'clock. Showing video of the water coming through the motels in Buxton. Here's some shots from the Hatteras Cabanas in Hatteras Village of how the beach looks right off of them as you come into Hatteras Village. That's where the Hatteras Cabanas is located. How much the water is just pouring up on there. That's looking at Frisco. That's Frisco to the north. Just shows you how far up the run-up was earlier this afternoon. Here is video from Ryan Coakley up in Corolla. We'll shift to Corolla briefly. That's the water all up to the dunes. Of course, we had the evacuation order in effect for Corolla, the four-wheel drive area. That is in effect up there. But this was at Corolla Light this afternoon. Thanks to Ryan Coakley for sending us that. Waylon Barley with some video here from Buxton. Look at that. Just rolling right up on those houses there. And pounding away at the sandbags as well. And then here is from Ian Nolan down in Hatteras Village. Ian feeding this to the Island Free Press of there as you come into Hatteras Village this evening. That's from the that's from the NCDOT tractor, I do believe. So it just shows you how much washout there's been there. That was a great still shot that Rick Shafton took at the traffic circle there to the Jug Handle Bridge of the road closed barricades. There were still some people driving around it, though. Taking things and risking it going up there after they put those up. All right. Jim Lyons, this is from Frisco, from the bathhouse. Let's see here. Showing how big it is. It's one of the biggest he's ever seen. I can't recall seeing it that big. Now, of course, go back to 2003 and Hurricane Isabel. We didn't have social media to help see a lot of this stuff, but that's pretty doggone big out there off Frisco Bathhouse this evening. Lynn Schmitz, this is his camera up in his security camera in his place up in Southern Shores, showing things getting a little more angry up in Southern Shores this evening around 7:20. And then here's some more of that water. We talked about it. Michelle Palazzo Palazzolo. This shows how the water is coming in off Old Lighthouse Road into Buxton. And then going down Highway 12. So there's the motels. This looks back. This is the ball fields at the Fessenden Center. And then Dillon's Corner is just past that. So you can see the ball fields all getting inundated there at the Fessenden Center as you come into Buxton. More video from Peter and Connie down at the Ocracoke Observer. That's Connie's video, actually. She shot some live video. And also our shot from our pal Carrie Pugh from Killable Hills. See the sunset reflecting off the clouds offshore. As you can see, the big surf there in KDH. Man, this one, look at the power of this. This was at Avon Pier. This is courtesy of Avon Pier. And I can't imagine how this is going to sound, so we're going to make sure we get the volume there. Look how fast that water is rolling right over. That's a little walkover there at Avon Pier. And that's going into the parking lot. It just shows you, I mean, look how fast that water is moving as it's coming over the dunes. Some cool sunset photos from Chickamauga Banks Fire and Rescue. Right there, that's at Rodanthe Pier looking west. And that's one of their trucks looking out to the east with the pink clouds reflecting that sunset this evening. Chris Barham, he shared some stills from Merlot this evening. I think that is. Yeah, that's... yeah, that is. That's at Merlot. Yep. There is looking towards... There's Black Pearl out there in the distance. And you can see some of the houses that have already been moved back onto that old road that was abandoned right next to the old Highway 12. Quite a few still out on the ocean side. And this one is what we're going to wrap up with because this has been the most impressive one. Shout out to Brian MacArthur. He took one. He took one for the team. That's getting up close and personal with Erin's Overwash in Hatteras Village. Wow. Yeah, what the indeed. That's scary, and that's why sometimes, you know what? Look how deep it is there. I mean, it's knee deep. That's Highway 12 that he's walking over. That's why I stay in the studio. I don't go out in this stuff like that because it would end up something bad would happen. But yeah, as Brian said, Houston, we got a big problem. I got outer spanked. Yeah, what the indeed. I wish we could have seen how it looked on the other side of the camera when that happened. So that's the scene tonight on this Wednesday night as Hurricane Erin passes offshore. Oh, you know what? Let me go back real quick because Don Bowers for the Island Free Press, he's got a ton of stills that he's got posted up now at islandfreepress.org. Look at one of those campsite grills there in Old Lighthouse Road. Yeah, it's the sand's all the way up to it. Don's gotten so many great photos from there in past storms, and he's getting some great ones already with this storm. So just give you just a glimpse here. One of those septic tanks there and that lighthouse view. This is the walkover. That is actually one of the coolest things that's there. If you ever go down, if it stays, you go down Old Lighthouse Road. It's like the second street on the left. That little walkover there, what used to be a dune walkover sits there, was not a house there, even though it has an address. That was a dune walk over the dunes that used to stand there. There's 8 12-foot tall dunes that we used to have in Buxton. Just shows you how much things have changed. But these are just some of the still shots there in North Buxton. Oh, that drone shot right there he got. That's an amazing look right there. And then even better there. Now, this is a shot. So what you're looking at is that's the Hatteras Island Inn. There's Old Lighthouse Road up to the top right, red drum. the Hatteras Inn there. Used to be a Comfort Inn. There's a T-shirt shop, and then that neighborhood, there's the old Lighthouse Road neighborhood. But you can see how much that ocean water is poured over and is now trying to get to the Pamlico Sound. And to the right, that is the Pheasant Center ball field. So just how much water, and this was posted an hour ago, but you can tell by the sun that was probably around 6 o'clock, 6:30, so right at peak high tide this afternoon. There's another shot from Don's drone of folks standing there at the Outer Banks Motel, watching things as the water poured in. And even more lighthouse up to the right. So, yep. And, there's a lot more folks. I know people have been saying, hey, that's a lot of folks still around. Look, honestly, the residents of Hatteras Island haven't left because they know if they leave, they're not going to get back, and that always is their biggest fear. And you live on an island for a reason. There's a great shot looking from on Tower Circle Road of this afternoon in Buxton. So go check out more of those photos at islandfreepress.org. You can check that out throughout the run of the storm. All right, so there you go. That's kind of a rundown on Wednesday. Thursday, it looks like a lot of things have been called off. A lot of businesses say they're not going to open on Thursday because it looks like some rain and wind, and they just want to give everybody that works a little break. So best bet, you know what? Take advantage of a day off here in August, even though it's going to be a blow day, and get some things done around the house, that type of thing. Maybe get some maintenance done in the shop. Maybe get some maintenance done in the restaurants. That's what you'll see. So a lot of folks are going to take the day off on Thursday. We're not. We'll be with you. We will have all our coverage as we've been doing on the socials. Really, because there's so much out there to share, that's why you've been noticing it's a lot of social posts from me right now. Still doing stuff at samwalkerobxnews.com, but really because it's coming in so fast and there's just such a huge volume, it's so much easier to just push it right back out on socials. So most of you follow me on Facebook anyway. You follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Blue Sky, wherever you're following me. It's just so much a faster way, especially my plans are to try and get down on the beach a couple of times during the day tomorrow, and maybe down on for the peak high tide. I'm going to stay on the North Beach. I am not going to Hatteras. No way. But I may go to North Beach and stake out somewhere that's there's two spots I'm thinking, maybe somewhere in South Nags Head and one other spot in Nags Head. Maybe only go to milepost 2 or 3 in Kitty Hawk, just because that's kind of a weak spot there to watch. But, we've got so many people out covering things, and so many people are sharing their stuff with us, and that's what we're going to do, is share it with you. So, that's what we'll do. So stay safe, stay smart, stay away from the ocean. Let us go out there. I say that, and I'm going to be out there maybe. I don't know. We may stay right here at the house and do it, so we'll see. All right, folks, but thanks for joining me. Get all the details. We'll keep you up to date on all the socials at Sam Walker OBX, and, of course, at samwalkerobxnews.com. We'll talk to you later.